Well, a good day to everyone and a warm welcome to the inaugural webinar of the 2024 VinFuture Prize call for nominations. Whether it's morning, it's night, or it's afternoon, wherever you're from, we are so thankful and thrilled to have you join us. 15 days ago, just to keep you updated with us, we released an official statement announcing that the 2024 VinFuture Prize is officially calling for nominations. Now, as we embark upon this fourth year of this initiative, our process of soliciting nominations from our pool of nominators hold significance to us. And we wholeheartedly recognize as well as appreciate the submissions that we received from our esteemed nominators, who comprised of scientists who, of course, are at the very core of this intricate undertaking. And without further ado, may I please introduce to you our esteemed panelists who will be joining me in today's webinar. Now, our chair for the webinar and also the chair of the VinFuture Prize Council, Professor Sir Richard Henry Friend. Joining Professor Friend in co-chairing today's webinar is Professor Quarraisha Abdool Karim, member of the VinFuture Prize Pre-Screening Committee. And we're so honored to have our special guest joining us for today, Professor Stanley Whittingham, Laureate of the 2023 VinFuture Grand Prize. And of course, representing the VinFuture Foundation, I am pleased to present Dr. Thái Hà Lê, Managing Director of the VinFuture Foundation, who will also be joining us with her presentation on the VinFuture Foundation, our values, and what we hope to achieve to bring to the community. Last but definitely not least is Dr. Văn Luân Phạm, Executive Secretary of the VinFuture Foundation. He will provide you all with an insightful presentation on the nomination process with valuable information. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming the Managing Director of the VinFuture Foundation, Dr. Thái Hà Lê, who will be sharing us with valuable insights from the foundation herself. Now, I'd like to invite Dr. Thái Hà Lê to the virtual stage.
Thank you very much, Thao, and a very good day to everyone. My name is Thái Hà, and I'm the Managing Director of VinFuture Foundation. First of all, I'd like to thank to all of you for taking your time joining us here today. It is an honor to have so many distinguished researchers and scholars with us, and I hope that you will find this info session helpful and informative. Before we begin, I would like to share some important information about our country, Vietnam, and the VinFuture Foundation and our prize. Vietnam is a Southeast Asian country with a population of about 100.3 million as of 2023. We are proud of the positive transformation that have taken place in our country, and we have been recognized as a new tiger economy in Asia. Our people are friendly, hardworking, and eager to learn, and our entire country is dynamic. Now, let's talk briefly about the two founders of the VinFuture Foundation, Mr. Phạm Nhật Vượng and his wife, Madame Phạm Thu Hương. Mr. Vượng was born in Vietnam in 1968, and he studied in Russia. In 2020, he was named as one of Forbes' Heroes of Philanthropy in Asia-Pacific region for his significant contribution to Vietnam's pandemic relief effort. He once said, "I don't care how much money I make, I want to build things that make life beautiful." The second co-founder is Mr. Vượng wife, Madame Phạm Thu Hương, who is the standing vice president of VinFuture Foundation and also one of the influential women in Vietnam. As the largest private corporation in Vietnam, Vingroup focuses on three core pillars: industry, services, and social philanthropy. We are the pioneers and the largest player in almost every market we operate in, from real estate, hospitality, healthcare, education, and mobility. Founded on December 20, 2020, which is the International Human Solidarity Day, VinFuture's Foundation's mission is to build a future where breakthrough scientific research and technological innovation empower people, positively enhance their life, and create a more equitable and sustainable world for the future generations. We are working toward our mission through 4 activities. The first and foremost is the annual VinFuture Prize, the first sci-tech global prize from Vietnam. Even though Vietnam is still a developing country, VinFuture Prize is one of the world's largest annual prizes in science and technology, with one grand prize of $3 million and 3 special prizes of $500,000 each. And we hope that Vietnam will become more visible in the global map of science and technology in the years to come. Next, I'd like to share more about the VinFuture Prize SciTech Week event, which consists of a series of events within a week. Due to the time constraint of this webinar, I will only show you some photos of memorable moments from the 2023 season. Now, the most important event is the VinFuture Prize Award Ceremony, which took place on December 20, 2023, where we announced our laureate to the public. Now, this is the photo of our respected chair of the VinFuture Prize Council, Professor Sir Richard Henry Friend, who is also joining us here today, and giving his opening remark. And this is a photo of the 4 winners of the Grand Prize: Professor Martin Andrew Green from Australia, Professor Stanley Whittingham from the United States, Professor Rashid Yayami from Morocco, and Professor Akira Yoshino from Japan, for their breakthrough invention that helped create a sustainable platform for the green energy through production with solar cell and storage with lithium-ion batteries. The person standing next to them is the State President Võ Văn Thưởng, and we are honored to have Professor Whittingham with us today as a special guest for today's webinar. And here are the winners of the special prize for the innovator from developing countries: Indian-American Professor Gudev Kush and Vietnamese Professor Võ Tòng Xuân for their significant contributions to the invention and advancement of disease-resistant rice varieties, ensuring global food security. The special prize for female innovators went to Professor Susan Solomon from the United States for her discovery of the ozone depletion mechanism in Antarctica, contributing to the establishment of Montreal Protocol. And the special prize for innovators with outstanding achievement in emerging fields was awarded to Professor Daniel Drucker from Canada, Professor Joe Habener from the US, Professor Jane Host from Denmark, and Associate Professor Svetlana Mosov from the US for the discovery of the role of GLP-1, paving the way to widely used treatment for diabetes and obesity, stimulating emerging application for neurodegenerative disease. Unfortunately, Professor Habener was unable to attend the ceremony due to his health conditions. Apart from the award ceremony, we also organize other events during the SciTech Week. The VinFuture Discovery Talk Series is an initiative that aims to connect the world's leading experts with the domestic scientific community in order to foster collaboration and exchange knowledge, an objective that closely aligns with the core values of the VinFuture Foundation. And here's our Science for Life Symposium. This event created connection between the Vietnamese SciTech community and the top scientists, policymakers, and entrepreneurs. The two-day symposium have 4 panels, each focusing on critical issues of the specific themes for the future. Lastly, we organized an event to connect the laureate with the public. We call it a dialogue with the VinFuture Prize 2023 laureate. The dialogue offers a chance for the laureate to share their scientific breakthrough story, inspiration, and aspirations. It was a highly intellectual and inspirational event that will be remembered as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our event today. We will have some more exciting content to share. Thao, over to you.
Well, Dr. Tai Ha, when it comes to presenting information regarding the foundation, I couldn't think of a better person, a more fitting person to do this. So for that, I thank you for joining with us today. Moving on, I would like to shift everyone's focus to our chair for today's webinar, who's also the chair of the VinFuture Prize Council. I would like to invite you all to keep watch for Professor Sir Richard Henry Friend to the virtual stage.
Hello. I'd like to make some remarks about the VinFuture Prize. We could advance the slides. As we've heard, the VinFuture Prize is, the prizes are some very large prizes that make connections between science and society benefit. Grand Prize is very valuable. It's $3 million, and for that, we look to see both some fundamental advances in science or innovation, but also they to work their way through to make a real positive impact on quality of human life. And we'll see where we have awarded the first 3 years grant prizes across a number of different sectors where that evidence for improving the quality of human life is very evident. We also have 3 special prizes, and we just heard the winners most recently of these prizes to innovators from developing countries, female innovators, and emerging fields where the innovation is an enormous promise, but it's not as developed as we look for in the Grand Prize. The key feature that we look for is, first of all, the evidence for a real breakthrough innovation, a step change that we would all recognize as a big advance in knowledge and understanding, but also where it can make impact on real quality of life, really across the whole world, and that we look for obviously there are issues of how far that impact is about, but that's the sort of information which should be really helpful if nominations can draw our attention to. So here are some rooms which I think are quite clear for everyone to find out about those nominations. We've invited a number of people, and I think that to be out as nominators. We look to individuals, we look to recognize such teaching organizations. But we try to be as non-restricted as possible. So we look hard to make the nomination process as open as possible. And the idea of someone who could be approached meets these until we'll be very pleased to receive a nomination come from that person. So we have 2 bodies who work hard to evaluate nominations. I'm chair of the Prize Council, and this is the council. And you will see that we have quite a broad set of members of the Prize Council. This is the Stevens Ashburn and Pre-Screen Committee who work very hard to set to the main nominations we've received, together with a lot of help from people working in the office. Between these groups, we work through to find out special consulars. So here we have the 2021 in Laureates. I think it would probably be pick out a sort of Grand Prize winners on top row. Of course, Caricom provides them winners of this year, member prize for the next in physiology, and obviously that award was for them to mRNA succeeds. The VinFuture Prize to Jan Bao, disciplined as the email prize for it's Jan Bao, the Emerging Field Prize to Aminyaki, and then the developed the Quarraisha Prize to Quarraisha and Stanley Abdool Karim, and Quarraisha is co-chair of the VinFuture Committee now, and is with us today. In 2022, the Grand Prize we awarded for broadly the internet, picking out those who made the pioneering steps to establish the protocols for the World Wide Web, the internet. And then also, the pilot is supposed to produce one of the pieces of physical hardware without which the internet simply wouldn't work. And that is the ultimate fiber amplifier that makes it possible to transmit huge amounts of information at very, very low costs, globally. So it was that combination of elements put together that made it possible to give us free and mobile communication across the whole world. So the debated prizes, for which I won last year, among this in the area of rice cultivation, the developing countries promised to study for water purification, basically India. And then the VinFuture Prize to Dennis Hasadis and John Jumper, who are the leaders of AlphaFold, which is this AI machine learning method for predicting very deeply structures of proteins of enormous potential impact. And then we've seen this year's prize winners in one of the in the area of science, which you saw. Again, they picked up the Grand Prize, making connections. And the theme this year was the steps that allow us to have a zero carbon energy structure. So Martin Green is as we hold to read ourselves to the point where well enough following and cheap out to equipment to impact path. But the other parts are those that make key steps in the development of the lithium-ion battery, which has been absolutely critical and initially it was found its way into portable electronics, but now it is revolutions in transport. So we pick up those two key areas of development which actually provide us with options that maybe even 10, 15 years ago we never thought would be about us. Then the VinFuture Prize was Susan Solomon, and she did absolutely critical work in understanding the mechanisms for the ozone hole developing in Antarctica. And then the Developing Countries Prize was to Gurdjieff Kush and Professor Tong, who played big roles in the development of rice cultivation, again, as it was applied to this huge improvement in production in Southeast Asia. And then finally, the Emerging Fields Prize was around the development of GLP-1, which plays a very large role in the treatment of diabetes and is now emerging as a very powerful tool to deal with manage obesity. So I hope that gives you some sense of the breadth of the prizes as we've awarded them in the first 3 years. The slide here gives you just the timeline. The nominations are open now. They close mid-April. And then we will be working through those nominations to make a selection in the fall. And we will then have the prize ceremony at the end of December in Hanoi. So that's a brief run through of what we've been doing and what we will be doing this coming year.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Friend, for sharing with us your very insightful information. And I hope to reconvene with you shortly after during the Q&A segment. And then before we move on with the rest of our esteemed panelists, may I kindly request your attention to a brief overview of the 2023 VinFuture Prize Award ceremony, which took place on December 20th, 2023, under the theme of Boundless Unity. Please take a look for a short video.
The global scientific community's attention once again turned to Vietnam on December 20, 2023, as the prestigious 2023 VinFuture Prize Award ceremony was held in the capital, Hanoi. The VinFuture Prize has entered its third year with its prestige and stature being increasingly recognized by the global science and technology community on par with the world's top prestigious awards. This year's award ceremony was held in the newly built, magnificent Ho Guam Opera House with the participation of esteemed Vietnam government leaders and world-renowned scientists. The ceremony was graced with the presence of His Excellency Vo Van Thuan, the President of Vietnam, along with visionaries and pioneers from diverse corners of the world who redefined the possibilities of human achievement under the theme of boundless unity. VinFuture Foundation extends the most profound gratitude to the remarkable 5,264 nominators from 90 countries and territories who recognized the potential and brilliance of these exceptional scientific minds. This year, a record-breaking 1,389 nominations were received, showcasing the global appeal and significance of this prestigious award. The VinFuture Special Prize for innovators from developing countries was awarded to Indian-American Professor Gurdev Kush and Vietnamese Professor Vo Tong Xuan for inventing and advancing disease-resistant rice varieties, transforming the agricultural landscape and ensuring global food security. The VinFuture Special Prize for innovators with outstanding achievements in emerging fields was bestowed upon an extraordinary team. Professor Daniel Drucker, Professor Jens Jewel Holst, Professor Joel Francis Habener, and Associate Professor Svetlana Mozov received this accolade for their groundbreaking discovery of the role of glucagon-like peptides 1, unlocking treatments for diabetes, obesity, and sparking innovative applications for neurodegenerative diseases. Recognizing the profound impact of female innovators, the VinFuture Special Prize for Female Innovators honored the brilliant mind of Professor Susan Solomon. Her groundbreaking research on the discovery of the ozone depletion mechanism in Antarctica played a crucial role in the establishment of the Montreal Protocol, safeguarding our planet for future generations. And finally, the pinnacle of achievement, the prestigious $3 million VinFuture Grand Prize. This year, the Grand Prize was awarded to Professor Martin Green, Professor Stanley Whittingham, Professor Rashid Yazami, and Dr. Akira Yoshino. Their revolutionary inventions surrounding sustainable energy platforms, combining solar cells and lithium-ion batteries, have transformed our world and will continue to shape our future with an unwavering commitment to a greener tomorrow. The 2023 VinFuture Prize is also a celebration of cultures where East meets West, and the momentous ceremony was filled with an electrifying atmosphere as global superstar Katy Perry graced the stage with her explosive performance. Celebrating Vietnam's rich artistic heritage, the audience was treated to a breathtaking performance by Dong Quang Vien, the mesmerizing sounds of cellist Phan Du Phuc, and the ethereal melodies of monochord artist Le Jang. The 2023 VinFuture Prize, where boundless unity is the key to science for humanity.
Well, there you go. That's our 2023 VinFuture Prize Award ceremony. Took place on December 20th, 2023, last year. And our co-chair for today's webinar, Professor Quarraisha Abdool Karim, a member of the VinFuture Prize pre-screening committee, is probably best suited to give you a more elaborate answers on these questions. And may I please invite Professor Karim to our virtual stage. Hello, Professor. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. It's a real honor and privilege to be co-chairing this particular briefing session on quite an amazing award. You've already heard from Professor Friend and also from watching the videos that although this prize is a fairly new prize, what distinguishes it from all other prizes is its particular focus and science for the benefit of humanity. And it's not just that the discovery is there, but there's clear evidence, as you've seen from the first three prizes that have been awarded, the grand prizes. And I think despite this now being the fourth set of nominations that we will be receiving and the fourth year of these awards being made, the impact of this particular award is gaining a lot of traction and attention, as we are seeing with the number of nominations coming in. And I think the other part is, if you think about other prizes at this level, for example, the Nobel Prize or the Millennium Prize or the Turing Award, it's usually a grand prize. And I think what also with the VinFuture prizes is the related prizes that recognize female innovators, the innovators for emerging fields, and also innovation from developing countries. And I think these give you very complementary insights into the kind of knowledge that is being generated across the globe. And I think VinFuture paying particular attention to this and drawing attention to some of the things that we could be looking forward to in the horizon. I think low middle income countries and science technology lagging countries have huge gaps in terms of capacity to respond to many and complex challenges that face them. So the special recognition for developing countries provides an opportunity for developing countries, one, to invest more in science and technology, but also to profile some of the challenges that are being faced at that level. And if we are to realize the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly the 2030 goals that have been set, then I think it's this kind of initiative and types of initiative that really will help catalyze and enable us, leapfrog us into moving to the future and towards bridging inequalities and ensuring that everyone across the globe is able to realize the full potential. So not surprisingly, when you look at the criteria that's being used, firstly, there should be clear evidence of potential of product or service based on a solution which has everyday practical application. You've seen 3 good examples from the grand prizes of the millions of lives that have been impacted with the type of innovation. We have seen also that these solutions must meet the criteria of scientific excellence, and that we don't restrict who can apply for it. It's open to researchers and innovators from across the globe. The issues around whether it's an individual, I think in the grand prize we've seen repeatedly and consistently that everybody who contributed to that new knowledge generation is recognized, even if it means bringing together multiple teams to show how that innovation together with all of the different teams or individuals contributing has enabled that. And that's true also in the emerging fields as well as in the developing country. It's not necessarily individuals, but groups and teams that we look at. And I think that's pretty much, I can elaborate more on the Q&A, but I think that sort of gives a good synopsis of the criteria that's utilized across the board. So if it could be like a 30-second summary, it's scientific excellence that's benefiting humanity across the globe. Thank you.
Professor Karim, before we move on with other parts, I actually have one question for you. In 2021, you were awarded with the VinFuture Special Prize for innovators from developing countries. And in 2022, shortly after you were being awarded, you became a member of the pre-screening committee. So could you share with us just a little bit of your experience with the 2 very different occasions, but also very momentous?
Yes. So, yes, I feel very privileged to have, one, been a co-recipient of the Inaugural Developing Country Award. And they, we actually nominated and having that, this was my first visit to Vietnam. And I think the whole award ceremony was quite an eye-opener, and both to my experience in Vietnam, but also in terms of interactions with the pre-screening committee and the prize council and the other recipients of the awards. It was quite an outstanding week and an amazing and memorable week. And when I was invited to be part of the pre-screening committee, I thought, wow, this is like an incredible bonus to become part of an impressive new award, and so the opportunity to actually review the nominations that are coming in, to see the diversity of scientific contributions that is being made, and to see the increasing interest. And I think in my participation both in the second and third editions, this has been reinforced. And I think with each time we are seeing the importance of this connection. I kind of think of this week as a part of diplomacy, a new diplomacy where we can bring people together and show how science, technology, and innovation can improve lives. And particularly important is how the collective brains trust in both the pre-screening committee, in the Grand Council, and also in the individuals who are receiving the awards, are able to come in, share that knowledge, not just during the awards, but through seminars, through visiting other institutions in Vietnam. And I think this is really important in terms of partnerships, collaborations, our shared humanity, that we have these opportunities to interact with each other, to learn, to share, to grow, to improve. And I think that collective set of activities, from the pre-screening to the awards, to the actual award ceremony, what I see happening over time is its impact on Vietnam, but also the global impact that it's having, and this opportunity we have to learn more about each other, to develop collaborations and opportunities, so that we can all collectively do more than we can if we in our individual countries, in our individual disciplines. And I think this opening of minds and opening of opportunities is really exceptional. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Karim, for your very, very insightful sharing. And I hope to see you again during our Q&A segment. And moving on, the VinFuture Prize mission is Science for Humanity. And as we strive to recognize individuals who have made significant contributions to the society through their very valuable contributions, and which is why it is a great honor to present to you our next panelist, who's also the special guest for today's webinar, also the laureate of the 2023 VinFuture Grand Prize, Professor Stanley Whittingham.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just make a few comments beginning. This award has been great publicity for our goal of building a cleaner, more sustainable world for all its citizens. I particularly like this award. You
find several components of our goal of making a greener environment. Namely, it combined the renewable energy, the solar effort, with the absolutely essential energy storage that goes with intermittent energy sources. This differs from most other awards that focus on just the fundamental understanding or discovery and do not really merge the different supports that are needed to make a really successful application. For nominators, I suspect that the Grand Prize this year, or really last year now, came about from a number of nominations, not just from one. So I would suggest to nominators to look at the big picture, not just your local nominee, your favorite, and see who else helped to solve some of the world's problems.
And now, just what exactly sets the VinFuture Prize apart from your experience, from your point of view, and how does its unique mission just encourage more entries, more nominations? And why is this sort of mission important for recognizing and promoting scientific advancements?
So going back really to the Nobel Prize, you read the citation there. It said we built the foundation. I think the VinFuture Prize moves it to the next step. It's really the application. How can we use this to improve everybody's lives? And I think this gives real great publicity to this. It encourages these applications and use. And as I point out many times, scientists and technologists can't do everything by themselves. We have to get the politicians on our side, and prizes like this get the attention of the politicians, of the policymakers, and this will really help us move things forward.
And could you provide us with any sort of recent updates on your lithium-ion battery research? And what are your upcoming research plans, and how do you view the competitiveness and nominations for our scientists, especially from developed countries? Now let's talk about your research first. Do you have any plans for your lithium-ion batteries?
Yeah, I would say our plans are now beyond the research stage. What we're trying to do is build up a sustainable ecosystem, not just for North America, but for the world. Trying to get funding in North America so we can make our own batteries here. Most people don't realize that some battery components travel 50,000 miles from the mine to the finished product. It takes 60 to 80 kilowatt hours to make a 1 kilowatt hour battery. So we're really putting emphasis that really each continent in the world needs to have their own supply chain, their own manufacturing. So, and then also absolutely critical to this is we have to use clean systems. We can't use dirty chemicals. A number of these are used to make batteries. You have to get rid of those. You have to get rid of the fluorides. So a lot of our research is aimed at building a more sustainable system, and we're getting large amount of federal and state funding to do that. And we work closely with Canada. Also, clearly, we want lower cost. And if you've been reading the press in the United States this last week, we've been having an extreme cold spell, and Tesla cars have had a major problem being charged. In fact, most of them won't charge. And my snow blower wouldn't charge because it's too cold. So we have to look at batteries that operate under all conditions, whether it's in the very high temperatures, say, of the Sahara, or in the freezing cold of North America or Northern Europe. My feeling is, my own group, I have students from around the world, from developing countries, third world countries, well-developed countries, and most of these students go back. So these countries can get involved in this area. This is not what I would say a extremely high, expensive area, so they can build up their universities, build up small startup companies. So I encourage everybody from underdeveloped, countries that are being developed, as well as the developed countries, to participate, send in nominations for the prize. And we've seen from the prize winners, they come from all around the world. So don't hold back just because you don't think you're going to be competitive.
Thank you very much, Professor. And the last question for you is, how has the VinFuture Prize impacted your life? I know that this might be a big of a question, considering how you just won the prize last month, December of 2023. But we're just curious to know, how has it impacted your life, your personal life, maybe your professional life? And can you share with us any noteworthy updates?
Well, as you say, it was just last month, and right after that, it was my birthday was the 22nd. So I was very happy to get recognized on the plane and everything else. Then we had Christmas. And I just got back to the university a week ago. as I said, it's impacted in the sense that the politicians hear about it, my colleagues hear about it, and I think they understand we have to all work together. The battery folks can't be isolated from, say, the solar or the wind folks or the power engineers that tie everything together. So it will enable me and others to encourage everybody to work together and not work in their own silos.
Well, Professor Whittingham, thank you very much for your sharings. You have been a true inspiration to not just us at the VinFuture Prize, but also to our respected nominators. And thank you very much, and we hope to see you again in the Q&A segment. And now moving on, I'm delighted to introduce to you Dr. Van Luân Phạm, Executive Secretary of the VinFuture Foundation, who will be giving you a brief presentation on the nomination process. And this information will undoubtedly be very valuable to our esteemed nominators who are also might be present with us here tonight. And Dr. Van Luân Phạm, the virtual stage is yours.
So, thank you, Thao. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to represent the secret team of the VinFuture Foundation. VinFuture Foundation is a non-profit organization committed to creating the breakthrough in science and technology will benefit to humanity. So today I'm here to introduce to you about our nomination portal. And I'm very pleased to walk you through the most important contents and the feature of the nomination portal and nomination form. So to begin, you can access on the nomination portal at online.vinfutureprize.org/nomination, or you can scan the QR code on the screen right now to open the nomination webpage. So in this webpage, you can download the instruction and the endorsement letter. So in this instruction, you will find the complete nomination form where you can draft the nomination whenever you have time, and then you can copy and paste on the online portal. There have 7 content steps on the nomination form. So I would like to call your attention to tab number 5 and tab number 7. So about tab number 5, you are invited to give your evaluation of the nominee's invention, including its groundbreaking history, scientific knowledge, specific approach, uniqueness, and advancement. Then you are required to clarify if the invention can be transferred or to the product, or highlight its most significant social economic impacts. This includes the number of beneficiaries, such as people, countries, and continents. So additionally, please explain how you believe this invention has or will potentially transform the date of every life of millions, if not billions, of the people. Last but not least, please provide information on the history of the invention, such as how and when it started, and who else except the nominee or nominees was involved in initiating or contributing to the invention. So now about the tab number 7, supporting documentation and evidence. There are several important documents that the nomination portal and the form require. But once again, I would like to call your attention to 3 critical items. The first one is the CV of the nominee or the CV of the group of nominees if you are nominating the group of the people. The second item is the endorsement letter. 3 endorsement letters is strongly encouraged, but 1 is mandatory. So the third one is the additional of nominees. Please as specific as possible when you're providing information. Additionally, please provide any validated intellectual properties, publications, patents, or other supporting documents that provide evidence for the nomination. So this is the tab number 7. If you have any question or face any technical issues, please email us at secretariat@vinfutureprize.org. We will be more than happy to assist you in your nomination process. Thank you very much. Over to you, Thao.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Luân. Thank you for sharing with us the nomination process. And to our audience, please keep in mind that we also uploaded a concise version of the nomination portal on YouTube. And in order to access this content, you can simply type in VinFuture Prize nomination guideline portal in the search bar, and you will be directed to your desired results. And now moving on, this is our very much highly anticipated Q&A segment. Please don't hesitate to send in your queries in the chat box, or if you prefer a more interactive or more direct approach, you can simply use the raise your hand function in Zoom, and our technical team will gladly unmute you and let you interact with our panelists in a more direct way. And I already received a signal from a member in the audience. It's Mr. Daniel Long. Can I please have Mr. Daniel Long camera on and be ready to interact with our panelists, please?
Hi, good evening. I'm Daniel from Singapore, actually. I don't know how did I end up on air, but since I'm on air, I have a couple of questions. The first question is, I can't help to see that all your winners are from the academic field. So I was wondering, do you also accept industry nominations from industry fields, entrepreneurs in the industry? Yeah. And second question is, I also noticed that you put a lot of weightage on patent and commercializations of technologies. Is that an important element in your selection criteria? Thanks.
I would like to invite Professor Friend to help us out with this question. Thank you.
Well, the second question is I'll take first. We mention patents, we mention commercialization, but what we really mean by that is impact on society. And I think the best guide I can offer is to see where we have awarded prizes so far. So this past year, Susan Solomon was awarded a special prize for her work on the ozone hole. I don't think that was commercialized, but it had a big impact on society. It's provided information that has been pivotal in getting wise policies adopted more or less globally. So there are many ways of fulfilling that requirement to make impact. I think in terms of who can nominate, my advice is we're looking for nominations. We're not looking for reasons not to accept nominations. And we are learning as we go. So please don't feel that the precise wording we've given is a discouragement. We'd love to be made aware of things that perhaps we ordinarily wouldn't come across.
Professor Friend, may I please still have you joining me, because there's another question addressed to you. And may I also please have Professor Karim on the screen, please, for the second question. This is a little bit long, so please keep up with me. Does the selection and the pre-screening committee put different individual nominations together in order to form the nominations, in order to form the finalized group of the laureates? Or do the nominations come in with multi-person teams already identified by the nomination?
Well, we want as much information as we can, and we do have the authority to construct what has been nominated to create the correct and appropriate identification of where there has been the breakthroughs and where that has had societal impact. I think the advice for the nominators is we don't want to create a high. Please tell us what you know about. If you feel there are other things that we might want to look out for, please tell us about that too. But we don't need a completely researched and explored nomination. We just want the clues that you know about, and those are very, very valuable to us.
And Professor Karim, would you like to add on to anything that Professor Friend just answered?
Sure. I think that was quite a comprehensive response. And to add that the knowledge generation process is quite complex, and one of the methods that we have in terms of how we appreciate and understand it is the peer review process. And so, we discourage self-nominations because we find that when you have others nominating you, and that could be colleagues, it could be collaborators, it could be an external party, that enables a more objective assessment in the first place. Two is that, as you've noted from the recipients of awards, it's really an individual. And so the process through the different steps also adds and unravels the particular breakthrough that is being recognized to fully recognize all contributors. And sometimes we do expand what has been submitted. And I think that is a fair process in terms of we often and mostly in terms of knowledge generation ride on the shoulders of giants. What do I mean by that? Is there's a whole history on which we build on. And so adequate recognition. So you come up with the end product. We also need to appreciate and understand what are the critical steps and milestones that enabled us to arrive at that. And sometimes that takes decades, sometimes it takes several decades indeed. And when we join all those dots, that's what enabled us to reach this critical moment in time, or the point of this discovery that's quite dramatic in terms of its impact on humanity. And I'll just specifically raise the issue, for example, the first recognition of the mRNA platform for the delivery of COVID-19 vaccines. And if you speak to Caitlin Carrico, she will tell you she spent nearly 4 decades working on that. And it took the partnership with Peter Kullis and with Drew Weissman and the COVID-19 pandemic to bring all of that knowledge together. And for each of the awards, we can do a similar sort of joining of dots to see how that was possible. And that's why I think we put emphasis on the nomination process not being by individuals, but also to underscore what Professor Pren said, is that we're also open to different ways of looking at this. We're all learning as we go, and our ideal is to be as inclusive as possible in identifying and recognizing breakthroughs that are changing millions of lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Karim. May I please have Professor Stanley Whittingham joining us next? There's a question addressed to you. After being awarded the Grand Prize, how does the VinFuture Prize contribute to the promotion and advancement of your specific field, Professor?
I think all the publicity we get helps us, gives us credibility to get funding from both the federal government's industry, and we're trying to set up an ecosystem in our region, and this will attract companies to come and work with us. So the more publicity we get, the better. And maybe I could add a comment to maybe the first question. All my initial work in lithium battery area was done in industry. So don't be discouraged if you're an industrial scientist. No. That area also comes up with a lot of great ideas. And in the end, it's industry that puts all our ideas into practice and helps everybody in the world, not just academia.
Thank you very much, Professor Whittingham. And our final question for today's webinar is actually just a yes/no question addressed to our members of the 2 councils. Would a nominee work for industry or government labs like the Microsoft Research, U.S. Department of Energy be appropriate? Can I please have Professor Karim helping us with this question?
Yeah, I think the key thing is it excellent science that's impacting humanity. And I don't think we have any restrictions in terms of the source of that knowledge generation and innovation. So the answer would be yes. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Professor Karim. And that's it for today's, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to our very esteemed panelists for today, Professor Sir Richard Henry Friend, Professor Quarraisha Abdool Karim, and our special guest, Professor Stanley Whittingham. And of course, our representatives of the VinFuture Foundation, Dr. Thai Ha Lei and Dr. Van Luân Pham, for joining with us today. Your contributions and sharings have been nothing short of inspirational to all of us. And of course, we thank you to our very engaging, fantastic audience for joining us regardless of the time of the day. And we hope that you leave this webinar feeling inspired to nominate what you believe to be the deserving scientist to the 2024 VinFuture Prize. And with that, we thank you and we hope to see you again. Goodbye.